Welcome to the Strong Man Say podcast, another episode backing it up after the middleweight series this weekend. But today we are joined by Australia's newest pro strongwoman who's made it to the Rogue Invitational in 2026 after just coming back from the Arnolds Pro and taking that out, Miss Katie Blunden.
Hi.
She's like bashful after that. Like, oh, that me.
not Rogue Invitational, but the Arnolds Pro.
Oh, Rogue Pro. Yeah, sorry. Rogue. Yeah, the Rogue stage.
Mm-hmm.
Invitational.
Rogue's our second goal, right?
Yeah, I was going to say Invitational after that, though, right? Like once you crush it at the
That's
Rogue
where the money
Pro
is.
stage.
Yeah.
It is where the money is.
She likes money.
We all like money, just most of us don't have the opportunity to get into the sport.
No.
Like, unfortunately, Leigh and I over here will have to coach to make money out of strongman. We won't ever get it competing.
No.
You, on the other hand, have an opportunity. But before we get into that and start firing away some questions with Katie, all three of us were at the middleweight series on the weekend. How do we find it? What do we think? Katie, give us your thoughts on the weekend middleweight series. How did it run? How's the competition? How are the events? Give me the down low.
I think it ran pretty well, better than I guess other years, and it flowed a lot quicker. I think there wasn't as much like lagging time between events.
Were you there for the dumbbell?
Yes. I think
but it did in general. Yes, I agree.
I think having the women one side, the men the other, with women having like maybe half the amount of competitors than the men, you then had the women's side with no one on it.
Yeah.
So like when they then changed it on the other day to go women,
men,
all run through the men.
Yeah, sure.
It's just so much quicker. And then you didn't have one platform where no one was on there doing anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think because we were talking about this before I started with the dumbbell, because obviously they were pre-tensioning or like tensioning the dumbbell. So every attempt, they took the caps off, they tightened the plates, which I think is fair for everybody. Do you know what I mean? When you're doing the same loads and the dumbbell starts to rattle in there, that's probably the fair thing to do. But it's obviously just like it's a time-consuming event when you've got that many people. Maybe a good event for like an ASM, ASW, where there's just two classes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like an event for 4 people, it's probably just a little bit slow when you have to do. I mean, I hate training dumbbell because you have to take the caps on, take them on every time you do a jump. You know, it takes time.
Most people don't put the caps on.
No, I know. That's why dumbbells are fucked.
It's also why a lot of people struggle at comp.
Yeah, because they changes the lift quite a lot.
Yeah, I didn't watch, I guess, any of the live stream because I was there, but from what they had on the big TVs, that looked pretty cool.
I said that to Mason afterwards. I said, this
the
setup,
graphics.
just the graphics, but the setup with the truck and the screens from a spectator view and even just like a professionalism standpoint with like the Australia's Strongest arch and the layout. It definitely was like, it definitely looked the best. It looked fantastic. And I do agree, like it ran really well, especially we were also talking about this beforehand last year after middleweight series. It was kind of a bit of an onslaught from athletes where this year it seemed like it was run really well. Judging was good. Like it didn't seem like there was too many kinks or issues outside of what we would normally expect from any comp run by a human being.
Yeah, and even I guess like, because I guess I was handling, it's like having the live score sheet, having people near you who you knew had, I guess like the times on it.
Yeah.
So you go up to Nick and be like, what time did we get?
Yeah.
Where are we sitting?
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier, I think, from an athlete point of view.
Way better.
To be more organised. And it's like, even the warm-up area, like it was, I guess, squishy, but can't help that.
No, you can't.
They had stuff there to warm up with properly.
Yeah, and even we had like the hand, like a handler, an AS handler in the back, just kind of telling people what's going on. So a few of us trying to help out as well. But the live score sheets, go figure. Fuck me, right? You've been saying this for about 3 years that it would make a difference, but it makes a very big difference in terms of like not just knowing what you have to do, but organising your athletes and understanding where things are at and stuff like that. Seeing where we're at the lifts, like it just makes a big difference in terms of how it all flows.
But even just the next event being like, okay, I'm this heat or I'm after this person, rather than
100%.
everyone going to that one person and then crowding around going, where am I?
And the score desk getting shitty with you, and it's like, I'm just trying to do my part. Like, I understand, but way better.
Yeah, I don't even know who was doing the actual score desk, which is a good thing because they shouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
No,
They should just be in the corner, making sure they don't make a mistake.
Like, you didn't need to go there at all.
No, which is fantastic.
Out of all the events that are at ASW that you then watched, is there anything that you went, oh, that looks bad? No, I have to do that.
So I'm also biased because I have events that I like,
Yeah.
don't like. The power stairs surprisingly was entertaining. I guess because I don't like power stairs, so I automatically hate the
I
event.
don't like them either, but I do think they're a good
But
spectator.
I think it was a good event, and the weights I think were actually good. Like you can tell they were heavy.
I thought they were heavy, but
achievable.
everyone crushed.
Yeah, like people were struggling, but they were getting it.
Yeah, and like
So that was
there
good
was
to watch.
only a couple tyres in each class, which means they were adequately heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was too heavy.
No, you had like top five sort of get to the top. You had like a bunch of people getting close to the top, near the top. You had a few people doing buzzer beaters to the stairs and stuff like that.
Most people got to the second, I think, but the second up at least a couple of stairs, so they got 6 or 7 reps.
Yeah, I thought they were great. Yeah, I agree.
The hang wasn't as long as I anticipated it being. Like it took maybe like a minute or a minute and a half.
2 minutes
and
max.
then
Yeah.
suddenly
I actually,
happening.
from a spectator point of view, actually thought the hang was good. Like I actually think it was good to watch. Like I enjoyed watching it. And in that set of events, when you had the monster dumbbell and went for ages, it was really nice having like a event that was over in 10 minutes.
It was good.
I mean-
Everyone was up there as well.
Yeah.
You had 1 or 2 people hanging at a time.
Yeah, if you
that
had
wouldn't have worked.
4 or 5 heats of dead hang, that would be really
And that was the
boring.
idea, I think, from the get-go, was to have everybody up there at once. So you're watching everyone. And it was good. Like, I'm watching people's fingers. And I'm watching my athletes being like, hold on, that motherfucker's about to go. You know? like it was good. And you're watching people sweat, just like, hold on with like the last 2 fingers. And you're like, you know that like one person drops, then 3 other motherfuckers drop from like that psychological standpoint. They're like, oh, like it's like always comes in waves. But I actually thought it was quite entertaining.
I think
Still a dumb event.
I was waiting for it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to do it. So.
Still a dumb event.
Yeah.
I think lightweights are in with opens now. I think lightweights would be interesting because it'll go for longer. The heavyweight men will probably be the least interesting.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like everyone gets to 30, 40 seconds and then equally just goes drop.
Yeah, potentially. A minute or so at
Besides
least.
1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, realistically as well, the one thing I will note from like, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it's always interesting on an event like that. It was mostly the people at the bottom of the list who won the hang. Do you know what I mean? Which makes it a relatively non-event for the guys at the top of the list, but it is just annoying because it's like an event where if you. Pretty much everyone who won the hang was near the bottom of the pack in terms of points.
Yeah.
In every class. So like, that was interesting. Like I had trouble in all the other events. They crushed the hang. We've seen that before, like the rope hold. And I will say, because I'm sure Mason does listen to this because I cop flack over it sometimes, but
Someone listens and then tells him.
that is 3 out of 4 years where in the finals we've had a hold or static grip event. And the one year we didn't, it was a light as fuck 30-meter farmer run. You know what I mean? Like it's probably time that we do have like a heavy frame or like heavy farmers or something that's going to be more grip intensive.
Oh, we had a heavy farmers last year.
You guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I remember that. Yes.
Middleweight series didn't.
What do we have? Grip-wise.
You had the Traeger hold last year. Was that last year or the
No, we
year
had
before?
those big,
No, that was the
long
year
farmers.
before.
Middleweights had the minecart hold on
Minecart hold. Oh,
right,
yeah, the
yeah.
minecart hold. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, I mean, great for you guys, but yeah, definitely just like long holds all the time. Leigh, what'd you think?
Pretty much all of that. Like, I think having lightweights first works out a lot of the kinks. Throat.
Your throat. Listen to me.
Yeah, it's better, but not great. No, it was fun. Like, I didn't particularly like a lot of the events, but I did the comp because I liked who I was competing against, and that's what was fun, was bouncing off those guys, seeing where we could take points from each other. Everyone in that whole field has a really bad event.
Every class was really competitive. Like, you take Cam out of the 73s, the rest of the girls were really competitive. The 82s were super competitive with each other. The 90s were super competitive. Riley definitely pulled away for sure, but like those guys were back and forth, you know, right the way through, especially for podium. And then the 105s were obviously down to the wire, you know. So I thought that all the classes from a spectator point of view, watching, there was the good amount of competitiveness within the groups.
Yeah, it's the most stacked that all of them have probably been. I think the 73s missed a few people. that did it last year that did
Yeah.
it this year. And if they were in, then it'd be very deep.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess it was good with the events as well because no one really had to just go out and just do what they had to do. It was like you actually had to push each event.
Yeah, for sure.
If you wanted to win,
Yeah.
if you wanted the points.
Yeah.
So you didn't just see someone walk out and, just go what?
Yeah,
10
yeah, I
meters
mean,
or
that
something,
cool.
go, okay,
Thanks.
like, cool,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you.
for coming.
It's like everyone was pushing.
Yeah.
And everyone had a bad enough event that they had to go out early in something.
Yeah, it's very, very true.
No one was just coming out last every single time and doing just enough.
No.
Which is going to be the downside to Rogue, Arnolds Pro show. They run it off overall
Okay, the whole way through.
the whole way through.
Yeah.
So you win the first event,
You
get
stay
to
out
go
in
last
front.
in the second, as long as you got enough points in your first overall.
Yeah.
So say Mitch gets out in front early, gets to go last on every event
Everything.
as long as he holds his lead.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
sucks because it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And then
That's
has
why
the
there's an advantage. Yeah,
Try
that's why they're an advantage.
Massive advantage. Like if that was the case for say 105s, then Bryce maybe by the time he would have been out towards the back end.
Yeah.
And then probably would have stayed at the very back the whole way through.
Yeah, for
which would have
sure.
given him a huge advantage
Yeah.
on everything.
Especially, I mean, he had the biggest opener on the overhead anyway, but that was probably the only one thing that I disagreed with vehemently, which was the power stairs going into the Flintstone press
Yep.
being ordered off openers when they have to reset the bars anyway. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's choosing an opener, but they're putting plates on, and then the loaders are stripping the weights off. It's a huge advantage to go after your competitors, knowing if you're last, if you've got a bad overhead press, where you need to get ahead of the guys that you need to get ahead of and send it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a strategic, you've got 2 minutes, a strategic event. You've got 2 minutes to find your top number.
Yeah.
You're not finding your top number. You're finding out you're hitting what you need to hit for points in that time. So that changes whether you put a 2.5 on or not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's
Absolutely.
it.
Katie
So-
would love that.
yeah, but if of course,
Yeah.
great if you shit at power stairs and then going into that Flintstone press. But yeah, I feel like that's probably the wrong move. That was probably the only one. But apart from that, I actually think watching it, being there, handling a lot of athletes there, ran well, was easy. Warm up seemed to be relatively adequate. The space is always tight, but that's what we get given, and everyone was pretty respectful of the space. I thought it was probably one of the best run midway series in a while, and well executed. The team were good, desk was good, refereeing was pretty good.
The dumbbell strategy is always one thing that I don't like. A few people went to give their next attempt and were like, oh, what's everyone else already put in first before me that was going lighter? And they're like, and I think sometimes they were like, I can't show you.
Yeah, sure.
And that's a part of it.
Yeah.
If you open heavier, same as powerlifting, you should get to see.
Yeah, on the powerlifting sport, you actually have usually the sheet that you can just see. Do you know what I mean? That's part of the strategy.
But you should be allowed to. If you open really heavy, then you go, okay, everyone before me, what have they put in? And you can pick to stay ahead. Whereas
Yeah, that makes-
sometimes helpers are like, I can't let you see. And it's like, that's it. That's how the game works.
Makes it more exciting because then that person who probably could have gone, say, 90, they went 92.5.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they're pushing a little bit more and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're going to get it. They're not.
Yeah, and then that person underneath who's like, well, they're going to see my attempt. I better fucking push it up. See if I can push them to push it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the fun part that I think makes it exciting. If everyone goes in blind, everyone just kind of does their thing.
Yeah.
And there isn't that bounce back and forth.
I agree. We had Riley in first for the under 90s. Crushed. Gotten a lot better. Executed really
A lot
well.
more consistent.
Just consistent. He was really, really good across the board. So Carl's done a great job with Riley because he looked dialed in. He looked focused, but he just executed every event quite well.
Yeah.
I thought he was right up. He didn't win every event by any stretch, but he was consistent across the board, the whole way through. Cam, which was kind of a bit of a give me in the 73s, obviously.
Yep.
And then we had Liz in the 82s. So 105s and 82s, coached by Mr. Leigh Shaw. Congratulations. Liz, we just said, looked professional the whole way out, her headspace, the way she was approaching it. There's a level of probably competition maturity now with Liz. She's been doing it for a while, but she's been escalating with the level of competition that she's been doing. But she just looked like she was head screwed on, locked in the whole time. And then probably my favourite winner for the weekend, obviously because it's my favourite class, but James Lation is, Liz has been around for a while. Riley's been around for a little while. Cam's been around forever and stuff. But James Lation in that 105 group, and like I sort of say this in general. I don't know about you guys. How long have you been competing for?
4 years.
Not long. Baby still.
Not long.
Yeah, you're on your apprenticeship. I mean, like, I rock up to these comps and, like, there's 3 guys that are the consistent, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems to me like there's obviously a turnover and more new people and stuff every time, but in that 105 class, there's no one really who's been in there quite as long as James has. And it's just like a testament to, like, showing up, putting up and keeping showing up till, like, you're the guy on top.
He just needed to not screw anything up.
Yeah, the problem with James is like inconsistency. Like he's just like inconsistent, and he's had some big holes. Now the deadlift was a nice leveler for him.
Yeah,
he did pretty well on that as far as the deadlift event goes. There's a few things that like definitely went his way, and he sort of just climbed his way back up on day 2, but was consistent enough to do well. You know, like that was a big thing. He just pulled it together. So it was really good to see James get that because he's wanted it for a long time.
So that's like the interesting thing about having 8 events or 2 days is like someone who might win overall, they didn't win a single event.
Oh yeah,
They're just kind of
very much.
What is it? Pottering along.
Yeah, pottering along in like pottering along in like second or third or fourth. You know what I mean? Like it's funny because like we were just saying this. Like most people had like a bad event, like they dropped like 12 points, 15 points. Do you know, like there was a fair few people who dropped big points on some events. But if you're someone who is second or third the whole way through, or it's pretty tight, but you drop one of those events, or someone like James doesn't really drop the 15 points somewhere, that can mean the difference between you being on top, you know? So it makes a big difference.
You get to like event 7, you're like, hold on.
Oh yeah, hold on. I was just kind of like,
they end up there.
Yeah,
it's like they've been there the whole time. You just haven't noticed.
Yeah, if you stripped 3 events away and made it a 5-event comp, and changed which 3 events you pulled off, especially in the 105s, you'd probably have like 6 or 5 different.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those points could switch.
You take Stones away and Bryce wins by.
Yep, 100%.
I lost 16 points to whoever won on the dead hang.
Yeah,
to Jason Midgley, just straight off, just 16 points gone. I'm like, great. So you take that event out, and I'm like, I'm sitting in a good spot.
It's funny because the 2 Leighs both lost the dead hang, Dan Guiry and Leigh Shaw.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's probably going to be me at
Yeah. I was like slipping out of my fingers, and Buddha's like, and all the 105s are still holding on. No one's dropped yet. And I'm like, fuck. And I dropped, and I'm like, turned around, and then Peanut dropped.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah. Short and thick does not do the trick.
Yeah. That was pretty consistent most of the way through. I think some people just took their grip in a weird way, or like Bryce said, like, when people start dropping the rig.
Sort of rattled a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I suppose that's part of it, though, isn't it?
Yes.
If I knew that, I would have dropped first and like kicked the side of it on my way down.
But yeah, good winners, great weekend, really good. Shall we rip into Katie?
Yep.
Your shit? Nah, I mean like her life.
Okay.
Backstory to start off with, like where'd you grow up? Where you come from? Give us the rundown of like your country. Where you from? Melbourne?
Grew up mainly in Colac. I suppose like particularly
that's country.
from like high school onwards.
Yep.
Grew up in Colac.
Country.
Yeah. About like, I guess like 15 minutes out of town on like 65 acres or something, and we had horses, and I pretty much every weekend went to like a horse show, and we did show jumping.
Okay, so you did show jumping. Was that your main sport, like athletic pursuit when you were a kid? Yeah. So you didn't do anything else athletic?
No, it's just that. So
the horse was doing the work and you rode it, and that was your athletic pursuit? The horse was...
You have a lot of horse people come for you after that one.
I think it's pretty hard.
Yeah, I believe so too.
You have to climb up there.
Yeah. You climb up. No, you just get someone to throw you up.
You have to climb up. You have to like... hold something.
Yeah, hold some reins. Yeah. Come on.
Do some work.
Yeah. Get to work. Make us win.
Yeah, if only it was that easy.
Yeah.
But I did that for like pretty much all through high school.
Yeah.
Like nearly every weekend would load up like the horse truck with the horses and go somewhere. And I guess even then I was very passionate. Like I was like, I'm gonna make it to the Olympics. Like I'm gonna be the best.
Yeah. Sick.
there was no way I was making it to Olympics.
Yeah.
But like still similar mindset of like being the best.
Yeah,
that I can be
sure.
kind of thing. And I did that.
Were you good?
Yeah, like I was good. I wasn't like top amazing, but like I guess I had horses that were a bit difficult, and so like I'd go out there and I'd either win or I would like zero.
Okay.
I'd say. So it was either one way or
Blaming
the
the
other.
horse.
Yeah, I was going to say, blaming the tool.
Yeah.
No, it's a bit hard on that. It's all on us. Oh, but my horses are a bit difficult.
Well, I just
Have it your way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I sort of got to like year 12 and kind of started to get into the gym a little bit.
What got you into the gym in year 12?
It was actually Sarah. So we went to school together.
Oh, let's go to school together.
Yeah.
In Colac.
Yep.
What school?
Trinity.
Trinity College.
Yeah.
Colac. Shout
Yeah.
out. Yep.
So we weren't like best friends then, but we're in the same friendship group.
Yeah,
And
yeah, cool.
She used to go and do the classes up at one of the gyms there. And then I started going with her. We used to do, it was like a 45-minute spin class.
Yep.
And you would go upstairs and do an hour of boxing class. We
Cool.
did back-to-back
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah.
Don't know how. I could not do that now.
Can't see it now, can you?
I cannot. Just like a group exercise class.
Yeah.
No way. But I did that for a little bit. And then I guess after I graduated, I went to uni.
Yep.
And
Did you go straight to uni?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you study straight up?
So there's a double degree in paramedicine and public health promotion.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I sort of didn't really keep going to the gym then.
What uni?
Latrobe, Bendigo.
Cool. Yep. So you moved up to Bendigo?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I guess kind of went to the gym, not really. And then it was my second year of uni, so 2018.
Yep.
Sort of halfway through, I went, you know what, maybe I'll just try going back to the gym. And Fernwood Fitness had, which is like an all-female gym.
Yeah,
They had like a 1-week trial free thing.
Yep.
And so it's for free, so I went every day.
Cool.
I used it up. And then kind of just going like every day for a week, just set that routine. And
Cool.
I didn't even get a membership there. I got a membership somewhere else.
Yep.
But, and then, I guess I just...
Where'd you get a membership? And what was like your first so it's like that's your first real like gym
I think it was...
crack in the gym.
Well, I think it was like a Snap Fitness or something
like that.
Yeah. Like it was a pretty decent sized gym.
Yep. And were you training with like weights, like doing resistance work?
Yeah, so I used to watch a lot of YouTubers, like a lot of like the Gymshark
cool.
influencers, and I'd follow their like workouts
Programs and stuff. Yeah, cool.
Like I used to screen record some exercises, and I'd sit there like at the cables with the screen recording.
Oh yeah,
there.
cool.
Like figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. That's amazing.
And follow that, and then can't think now what year, but. And then I sort of wanted to get a bit competitive with something.
Yeah.
I remember even like suggesting strongman or powerlifting.
Who suggested strongman or powerlifting? You did? Or
I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll try
what was your first exposure to strongman powerlifting?
I didn't know anything about it. I don't think...
How'd you see it?
I don't know. I can't even remember. In the end, I didn't even go for it. I went Olympic weightlifting.
It's just there. It just existed somehow.
I mean, usually most of us, like, I had no idea what it was when someone suggested it to me.
Yeah, like I'm not sure where I saw it or how I knew about it. I guess I knew about powerlifting, but strongman, I think I didn't really even know anything about.
Sure.
I just knew it was something. But in the end, went Olympic weightlifting, and I think it was from watching like Sonny Webster.
Oh yeah,
like
cool.
his stuff would come up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that looks cool.
Where did you train Olympic lifting?
So it was in Bendigo. I had a coach there. I think I ended up training at, I think it's called Human Mechanics.
Oh yeah.
Something like that. Like it was a pretty decent gym.
Yep.
But I never went to the other side of the gym. I just stayed down the back where the 3 platforms were.
Yeah, cool.
And like the squat rack and the barbell.
Yeah.
Like because you didn't really touch dumbbells or
Yeah,
anything.
of course. Yeah.
So did that for about a year.
Did you compete?
And so I did a couple of comps. I think in the end, I think my clean and jerk was maybe like 90 something kilos and my snatch 80.
What body weight were you competing in?
I was probably like 100 and no, oh no, maybe it's like 100.
Okay, so like not
I was definitely lighter
not
than
too
I am now.
but like
Yeah.
not too indifferent, like
Yeah.
similar sort of body weight kind of thing, like in that like heavier weight class kind of deal. Okay, and like so 90.
Or maybe it's like 95. I reckon.
Yeah,
clean and jerk,
cool.
Something like that.
So pretty good for like someone who's been doing it for a year.
Yeah.
It's
Like
a lifetime quest for some people.
Yeah, like 100 kilo clean and jerk is
Lifetime
like
quest for some men.
yeah.
Just to put like a 90 to 100.
hey.
yeah.
Still working on it.
Yeah.
And then I think COVID hit like just before maybe my third comp.
Yeah.
And then we went into lockdown.
Lucky you only needed a barbell then, hey?
Well, we did have a friend who was a CrossFitter there, and she just had a garage full of like squat racks and barbells and plates.
And you're still in Bendigo?
Yeah, still in Bendigo. And so pretty much just like studied online at home and then went to the gym and just trained in the garage for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But I ended up sort of switching from Olympic weightlifting to more of like a powerlifting style.
Cool.
So I was like, I'm a bit bored of just doing 2 lifts.
Yeah.
And same thing. So I want to mix it up a little bit. I want to do bench again.
Yeah.
Go to do 3 lifts.
Yeah, that's
really
it.
Spice it up.
Yeah, really mix it up. 3 lifts.
I even did some like CrossFit WODs and CrossFit workouts at that point in time.
Yeah, nice.
I dabbled in a bit of that.
Mixes back to the group fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then went
dusted off my Lorna Jane.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah. But I realized pretty quick I was like, CrossFit's not for me. And then I sort of went back into just gym bro kind of training. And then it was, I don't know where the comp was. It was the charity comp up in Melbourne somewhere, which was actually Sarah's first comp.
Lifting for Luca.
Yeah. And so I went to support her, and they pulled a truck and did all this cool stuff. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. That looks like fun. And so I went, you know what, maybe I'll like try that. And I signed up to Log Dead Stone. That was in May. This is 2021. And yeah, so I did that and did Log Dead Stone. And I was like, okay, like I like this. Like I'm going to get a coach now. I'm going to commit. And I guess that's where I started with Leigh.
Yeah, cool.
And then it wasn't too long. And then we had the Strong Geelong gym, the Strong Geelong comp here.
Yep.
And that was my second comp. And then just sort of kept rolling from there.
Were you and Sarah friends the whole time through this, like while you were in Bendigo?
When we first started Strongman, we kind of had a little tussle, and we weren't friends for like a little bit then, but it was only like...
I didn't mean to touch a nerve. I was just more curious, like whether when you started like doing some powerlifting, was that impacted by her doing powerlifting?
Yes,
were you influencing each other's kind of journey from the get-go as well?
Yeah, so when I went into lockdown in Bendigo, she was actually in Melbourne, and I dragged her down to Bendigo. I said, why are we both just by ourselves in 2 different places?
Yeah, sure.
Like, we're both now online because of COVID.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you come and move in? And the spare room in the house I was in had a mattress on the floor, so she slept on the floor on the mattress. Cool. But so essentially, just like did uni online there, and then went to the gym, the garage gym that we had, and then that's just kind of lockdown, and her doing powerlifting kind of pushed me to be like, well, I want to do a heavy deadlift and I want to do that.
How did your first Log Dead Stone go?
I think numbers wise, log I think was maybe like 67 kilos. Deadlift was maybe 170 and stone was 90. So.
And you were just fucking around and finding out?
Yeah.
How'd you find out about Leigh?
I think I was just looking up like strongman coaches kind of thing. I knew Nick White was with you.
Did you know Nick already? Or?
Well, she was at Into Performance, where I did a few of like playing with the stones and the log. And so I suppose spoke to her a few times. But I guess a big thing was like you had a lot of female clients, and like seeing, I guess, what those female clients were doing. That kind of was like, oh yeah, like I'll try you, see how it goes.
Yeah, I remember it after Log Dead Stone. I just got a random message and was like, hey, do you have coaching spots? I'm like, I don't even know who this is.
Yeah, it's
like
new.
Usually you kind of know people that are in the sport or they've asked before. And then, I was like looking it up and I was like, looked at Log Dead Stone. I was like, oh, she competed there. And I looked at the numbers and I'm like, she's pretty strong.
Yeah, yes, I will. Yes, I do. I'll accept.
And I literally cleaned the log like it was a barbell as well. It went from my hip and just like jumped up to my chest.
Yeah, I didn't say it all looked good.
There was no rolling.
I looked at the numbers and looked at how it moves and I was like, there's a lot that can be cleaned up, but strong.
Yeah.
And that could grow a lot bigger.
I guess it paid off.
Yeah.
So.
Somewhat.
We're going to put up with her still. But
I'm still here after how many years. So.
Yeah, how long? So what,
Middle of 2021, so...
still pretty early days.
Nearly 4 years.
Yeah. And then your first comp was like the first actual comp, because Log Dead Stone's basically powerlifting.
Was the Winterfest here.
Oh, Winterfest, cool.
Yeah, it was that and then Her Raw.
Yes,
Her Raw and then that. One of them.
Which was up in Brizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did Her Raw, how were your first 2 like proper comp experiences?
I think the one here, I think it was a bit of, I guess, like an ego boost. Because I remember there was 2 classes you had like, it was like intermediate and advanced. Yeah. And I think I was the only advanced one.
Circa and half circa or whatever.
Combining them.
Yeah.
And I guess the women that I was up against, like I won every event, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, oh, okay. And then of course they're like, oh, you're really strong. Like, I was like,
cool.
Oh, okay.
I really like this strong woman thing.
I was like,
I love that part of the sport.
Yeah.
Where you get into it and you do well and you're like, am I really good?
Yeah.
And then you go do the next comp and you're like, I'm not really good.
Yeah, but I suppose it's just even like the people, like everyone's so supportive and lovely and easygoing, and I think most people have that experience. Like they come and do a strongman comp and they're like, oh, like everyone's nice, everyone wants you to do well and supports you, and like it's fun.
So my other question, or still my same question, is Log Dead Stone and Strongwoman. How did you find it? Like, how'd you land in LDS? Like, how'd you land in Log Dead Stone? Who told you about Strongman? What you were did you have a stone log that you were training on at that point? Where were you training?
Well, I was up in Melbourne at that point.
Okay.
What year was it? 2021. Yeah, maybe I was in Melbourne. Because I think I'd graduated uni by then.
Okay.
So then I moved to Melbourne for a year. And so I was just training at like, I think it was Muscle City, which is like very bodybuilding influencer kind of gym.
Yeah.
And then I'd go to Interperformance, which had like
to
a log
do the Log Dead Stone. Yeah,
stone
cool.
and
That
stuff.
makes sense.
And so I suppose after Sarah did the charity comp, I think
that
she
was where
ended
you
up doing
said
log
like,
and stone.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, so we went and did some like log and stone and things together. Because I think someone told her about that. I don't know who, whether it was like Buddha or Josh or someone like that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Fun.
Yeah, and then her Raw was the next.
Yep.
Which was like a 2-day comp.
Yeah.
In Brisbane, expo, kind of expo, like at the expo but outside.
Yeah. And I suppose that one was, I guess, more nerve-wracking. There's more people.
Yep. Well, it's like a what is it? Like it's a not a festival, but a show.
Yeah.
Is it like a Brisbane show or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a fitness expo, but it was all women in sport and
yeah,
women
that's
competing
right.
in different sports and different brands that were run by women and everything. So.
I think they just had like an under 75 and an over 75 category.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it was still kind of like, so you first, like you've done Log Dead Stone, so powerlifting strongman, God bless. And then you've done, you're going to watch me rip on this. We were talking about this the other day, like if you can't strongman, you do static monsters.
You sound like Log Dead Stone because you didn't get to do it last time.
I really like Log Dead Stone. I'm just too broken.
You got stuck on the log, which is your least favourite. If it was Deadlift Stone, you'd be all about it.
Yeah, fuck the log. Anyway, and you've done like, so like our novice, like our, not novice, but obviously there was not enough competitive class, so we merged it. I think you've done like an under 75 and over 75. And then, so, and you did that, like, what was the first, like, cool, open weight, here we go, full comp?
Do you reckon it was Vix?
Oh, yeah, it was like that, like the first proper comp.
Vix or ASI? No.
No, that would have been later.
Or compound or something. Did you do compound?
Yeah, I did the second one. Maybe it was that one then.
It could have been that.
Because that would have been, what, 2022?
Yeah, and that would have been January.
Yeah.
Log Dead Stone's normally October.
Yeah. But even then,
Probably
that was
line up.
just Camilla and I in that class.
In the opens, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you did like the pole push
Yeah.
tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Which is me
Forgot about
against
that.
Cam.
Yeah,
who's 65 kilos, like, yeah.
Yep.
Perfecto.
Hey, it's opens.
Yeah, that's the
a good
rules.
point. Yeah.
So then what was the first comp where you went, fuck, I've got this, hey, like, I can be ASW, like, I could compete internationally. Like, was there a point where there was a tipping point where you kind of doubled down and went, this is something that I'm doing competitively and for fun, but like, now this is something where I think that I could make something of this? Was there a comp or a moment where that changed, like that shift happened?
I don't know if there was particularly a certain time where I went, this is what I want to do. If anything, it was probably after Log Dead Stone, because I guess I'm very much like, if I'm
It's straight from the get-go.
It's after the
I could be
first
the
horse
fucking
show.
best, yeah.
After the first horse show, like, if I can go to the Olympics at this, whatever I pick,
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
dominating.
like
That's
I'm
so true,
very
isn't it?
much like, if I'm going to do it, like
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
be the
Yeah.
fucking best.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there's no
cool.
just doing it as a
Yeah.
hobby.
So
love it.
weightlifting for a year, I'm going to the Olympics
Yeah.
still. It's not horse riding, but it's weightlifting.
And then it's like, well, I'm probably not going to Olympics, so let's change.
go to powerlifting.
Swap.
Powerlifting. Do they go to the Olympics? No.
No.
Oh, What's their biggest comp? Go on to that.
Wait, you're telling me strongman doesn't go to the Olympics?
Nah, sorry.
Fuck, I'm going to quit this then. Try a new sport.
If there's an Olympics for it, you've now qualified for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
That's
pretty
about
close
it.
too.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard because I guess everything kind of builds on itself. And so, like, I guess I think I have a lot of imposter syndrome. So it's hard, I guess, to even, like, acknowledge what I've done. So I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I remember watching ASW when Ali won. And I was saying, I'm like, that is so amazing that she's won that, like, that these girls are even here. And I guess because Jordan got to go to ASM that year because he won the compound and I won the compound, and someone was like, why didn't you go to ASW? I was like, there's no way I'm ready for that. Like, and then now thinking that I guess I'm going to ASW again. I got second last year. And it's, I guess,
I'm there to win. Yeah.
this year there's a chance that I could win.
Yeah.
And I'm like a few years ago, I would have been over the moon that I was there. Whereas this is just, it's another comp. Like, it's
That's pretty normal though, I think.
Yeah.
Like that's probably all of us. Like it becomes it becomes your reality. Once it becomes your reality, it becomes your normality. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's necessarily imposter syndrome. It's just like your expectations shift, goalposts shift, and it becomes normal.
The sparkle wears off.
Yeah,
a
and
little
like you just realize that
of like the wow. And then when you know, like when you meet Ali and all those other women and then they become your peers, it's not as much like, oh my God, they're so strong, because it's just like, they're your friends. Of course they're strong. It just seems normal.
And they are strong, but like it's also you're not special for being strong.
Yeah, it
either.
seems
there's,
normal.
There's like, we were having this conversation with one of my clients. It's like there's 50 other guys in the world that could take those spots. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like when you're looking at Worlds or like Giants Live, it's like, yeah, you're fucking good. So's 50 other motherfuckers. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like there's a bunch of other good people. It's like you are strong, and like it's not like, I don't think it's like necessarily imposter syndrome, but it's the normality, and there's a lot of us. Do you know what I mean? The reality is that there's not a lot of us. There isn't like, there's not heaps like in the normal realm. Do you know what I mean? Like you are 1% of the 1%, but in our worlds, that's like, you're strong, but there's also a lot of strong motherfuckers out there, you know, so it becomes your normality. Do you know what I mean? So you start to lose or forget that it's like what you've done is impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think definitely like forgetting, I guess, like what I'm actually doing.
Yep.
Or even, I guess, like, like achieving a lift or something like that, like being able to actually celebrate.
Like a world
happy
record.
for it. Yeah. Yeah. But even then, like, I guess, like doing, like, I find it hard, I think, sometimes to acknowledge my own success, like particularly with lifts, because I feel like it was a fluke. Like it's just then going to be taken away kind of thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
So rather than
Not a fluke if you replicate it.
yeah,
time and time again.
Yeah.
You're also still very new in the sport.
Yeah, it's because
so-
you're very new too. It's like early.
But
If it comes like hard, like it's not like saying you don't work for it, but it's come naturally and come easy.
Yeah.
If you're 4 years breaking world records and going to a pro show, it probably feels like, well, fuck, that's kind of come pretty comfortably. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
But
it's very
the sport's progress so quick that, like your log that you did before Arnold's, the 130, only 2 women have done that weight or heavier in the world, like Inez and Andrea. Before that was the world record that Andrea did like 2 or 3 years ago. Before that, no one had done that weight. So you hit it and you're like, yeah, but it's not what these people have done. But yeah, people forget that 2 years ago, no one had done that. Right, even now, only 3 have ever done it.
I was going to make a post the other night, like the last night, and I decided not to.
Not a rant?
No, not a rant. But like there was a world record that stood for 13 years. It was a 138 stone. Do you know what I mean? Now, like I know that none of them like hit it, but a lot of them hit it in the training. You got 82 girls hitting it in training regularly, you know, and aiming to hit it in a run.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like a 130 stone in a run is like totally normal. Like I think girls are just forgetting like how quick the standard of the sport has come up, you know? Pretty wild.
Yeah. You'd think you're not progressing quick enough, and I'm like, I wish I progressed that fucking quick.
Yeah, seriously. We probably did in the first 4 years. Do you know what I mean? Like you get good quick and then it gets hard.
Yeah.
But, yeah, interesting. So the next step, so you, like speaking of, you broke the like a world record. One world record, one national record?
I think it's still just the axle for both, because I did have the log, and then Big G.
Took it back. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yep.
And then she's still got the monster dumbbell.
Yep.
One. Yeah.
The Arnolds. What was training like? Probably more a question for Leigh. Like, how did you structure that training? Talk us through the events. Talk us through like Katie's training and how you approached, or how you've approached the lead up into Arnold's, because obviously you're balancing quite a lot too. So, how did you go balancing like what Katie works with outside of work to get her to the Arnold's in that spot, with also the competitions that she's been juggling as well?
That was hard at first. Like once you started doing paramedics. Because you do shift work where it's 4 on, 4 off.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent. Like it's consistently 4 on, 4 off, which is good, but there's night shifts and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, we tried spacing out your training and having a couple of heavy days, couple of light days. You ended up having like an 8-day rotation instead of 7. And I think it worked, but you just weren't doing enough. And I think you also needed that period to like adjust to work as well. Like your sleep was like trashed. And you'd come in and you're like, everything feels like shit.
There's an adapting.
But I went to bed at 7 a.m. and it's 1 p.m. and I'm here and I haven't eaten.
Yeah.
So I think once that settled, we went back to separating the days, because your 2 big days were just killing you.
Yeah.
So the events, can you run me through the events for the Arnolds?
They had a max log, which was like preset weights and weight jumps, trap bar deadlift, a sandbag medley, like 5 sandbags, the Husafel sandbag load.
There's a yoke run. So
that's right, the yoke.
Like 20 up.
20 meters up, 20 meters back. The hoist pull setup and the max keg.
Yeah, so quite a lot of events.
Weird events. We came back from OSG, I think, and you saw the events and you were like, I don't like them. I'm not doing it. That's a shit comp.
You came fourth at OSG?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've come back from OSG, so that's December, and then you've got Arnold's in March. So what did the OSG prep look like? How did you bridge the gap between that, or did you just jump straight back into that Arnold's prep?
We started on something different, like more long-term, kind of ASW. Case, like you got back and started doing monster dumbbell. We started looking at like the behind the neck stuff, and then you randomly messaged and was like, "I think I'm going to do Arnold's."
Yeah. Well, I was not
That's in
going
like 6 weeks. What?
Okay, so no, it was a short prep. It was a short prep.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to do the Arnold's because the time I came back from OSG and like because I guess I spent a bit of time like holidaying. So the time I came back, had Christmas, and then sort of got back into it, which was like January. And I guess I looked at some of the events and I like glazed over it. I didn't really look properly at it. And I think I saw 1 or 2 and I went, nah, that's shit. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to be able to afford it. Like it's all too hard. And then, I don't know, I came and sort of looked back at it. It was maybe later in January, I think. And then I was also looking at, I guess, how much money I spent to actually get over for OSG. And I realized I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I can afford Arnold's if I really push it. And then I looked at the events again and I went, oh, hold on, there's a yoke in there. And like, oh, it's a trap bar deadlift. It's like this. And I was like, okay, they're not as bad as what I think when I looked at it first, I think I saw one event and I went, no. But I think I saw the voice and I was like, no thanks. But and then I went, oh, like, do you think, and I guess I remember messaging you and I was like, do you think I have a chance of winning or at least podiuming? And I went like, I'm not going over just for like exposure. Like I'm not going to get 4th, 5th, 6th. Like if I'm going to spend the time and the money getting over there, like I'm going to do well. And I think, you're just like, of course you'll do well. Like, I'm like, no, come on. Like, like, be for real. Like,
no, it's just being nice. He's like, oh, of course you do well. Not like, yes, you'll do well.
Just like, I'm
not being nice. Like, you'll do well. I'm like, this event and this event need work.
Yeah, sure.
And we can't.
What were the 2 events that you really felt like needed work?
The hoist pull, because I just knew it would be, it's rope and it's just grip. Yeah. It's grip that everyone goes on. Like they did the Magnus like a couple of weeks beforehand and they had the exact same kind of hoist pull. Yeah. And the other one, like I guess the keg was kind of unknown. Yeah. And we don't have a lot of kegs to train on. Yep. I don't think I was that concerned about it. Like maybe the sandbags.
Yeah. I suppose it was like the deadlift, but then I guess being a trap bar like benefits a little bit more Like, 'cause I guess my deadlift isn't, like, it's come up a lot, but it's not, like, I'm not winning deadlift events.
Sure.
The
trap bar's a little bit stronger.
Deadlift was a little bit unknown because there's no whip in the bar. It's a very dead position, but at the same time, it was like you've squat 230.
Yeah, you got good like lower body strength.
I'm like, if you can squat 230, surely you can pick up a trap bar that's 230.
Yeah.
Surely. Like, and then I think he came in and tested it out and hit comp weight for a single, and it was like, okay, that's in a good spot.
Yeah.
Was it 6 weeks?
6 or 8?
I think it was maybe 8.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were in a good spot when you started that prep, to start the prep?
I think so, yeah. Like, it was
post
more,
OSG, felt pretty good, body felt good, felt strong post OSG, but had a little bit of break.
yeah, like a bit of time off and like relax. And I guess when I came back after OSG, like I mentally felt a whole lot better. I think going into OSG, I was burnt
drained,
out in a lot of areas.
Stressful comp.
Yeah.
It's like Leigh doesn't smile that much, but like he always give like this little like I'm holding something back, like little like this little smile where you know there's something underlying there.
No, he just like disassociated a lot on the OSG weekend. Like you'd sit there in warm ups and just like stare off at nothing and just listen to music.
Yeah.
Just very quiet.
Yeah.
Just very stressed.
Did you find at OSG that you weren't like your normal competitor self?
I think I still like went out and I think like performed how I would have.
Yeah.
I think it's more backstage. I just felt really, really nervous.
Were you nervous? Yeah. Were you stressed? Yeah.
I think the most nervous I've been for any comp.
Okay.
Like I just felt sick the entire time.
Was there a reason?
I think it was because I knew if I performed well, I had a good chance of doing well. And then if I didn't perform well and I fumbled something, I'd lose a lot of points and not do well. So I just felt pressure, I guess, from myself.
Yeah, sure.
That like I can do.
Do you think
well
you would have the same feelings again if you went?
I think I'd be able to manage it a bit better. Like I think going into the Arnold, I was still same thing. I'm like,
okay,
I know I can do well.
That's just because you know that there's capacity to be able to be at the top, right?
Yeah. But I suppose because the way I went about things at OSG, I knew I was going to be same sort of nerves.
Yeah, sure.
At Arnold
It's experience.
I guess manage that a bit better. Like at OSG, I just really struggled to eat.
Yeah.
Like force feeding was hard. And then I didn't eat much, I guess, and then I knew that affected my performance.
Do you enjoy OSG as a whole, the experience?
It was fun, yeah.
Versus like Arnold's? Obviously the Arnold's experience was a little bit interesting this year.
Yeah, I think the way the comp was run at the Arnold's, if they were like timed a bit better, we weren't running so behind, I think it would have been more enjoyable. But it was just like we did 3 events on day one in 1.5 hours. Like it was just back to back kind of thing, which made it stressful and not as enjoyable. But I guess like going over there and meeting new people, new competitors, was fun, and like meeting the same girls again, was enjoyable.
Yeah, that was probably more. OSG was first international comp.
Yeah,
first time going overseas. Period.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a big shift.
Yeah.
So like I guess a big like tipping point of like proving that you
belong there. Yeah, for sure.
Being like, I know I'm one of the top in the world, but I have to prove that first.
I don't think you ever really settle into that though. Like I always go there and be like, fuck, I gotta prove it again. You know what I mean? Like you always gotta
disappear for 2 years and do a triathlon or something and then come back. It's because you miss it for like 4 years and then you're like, oh, I'll have another crack.
I've been overseas competing every year. Yeah.
Whereas, like the Arnold Pro-Am, there was a group that already did OSG.
Yeah, it's like similar group. Yeah, cool.
So it already bounced off them, nowhere there kind of sitting. Which is almost, it's kind of worse, I guess, in a way. Like you see what everyone else does and then go, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
I need to get better at this. But no, OSG, one of the weaker events would have been sandbags, the sled, conditioning wise, and just like speed wise. Going into OSG, I was like, this is the event that you can win if it's done right, but you could also come last if we don't put the work. Like we need to put the work in so that it happens. And we've like fine-tuned pickups, transitions, sled work. Like you were on the ground. I think the first couple of times we did sled, you were just on the ground for like half an hour and you're like, I have a headache, like not in a good way.
It does suck at the start, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then by the end of it, like we were set.
Cool.
which transitioned into Arnold's perfectly.
From the fitness side of stuff. Like
and
that's
also the
specific
same sandbags, the same
Yeah, cool.
I was like, we know you can grip and rip these now. So that whole prep was just fine-tuning, like breathing, split seconds, like
transitions, etc.
I think
she's already strong enough.
Oh, shit.
This is more like the big difference. I think OSG to Arnold's is just like coming into it. OSG, I think I was very stressed coming in, and like now looking back at it, I was really burnt out. Like through like work, and training, and so then like coming back home, I was like, all right, I feel good. Like I actually feel
like relief
happy.
when you came home. Like oh, it's all done.
It's like enjoying training more and just less stressed. Just like can think a bit clearer about things as well.
Yeah. So on that, like, how do you go? So for listeners who don't know, Katie works for Ambulance Victoria, and have done so for a couple of years now. Yeah. How do you go balancing your work life with your training life now that that's shifted? Or you had a couple of years to adjust now, but how do you go managing that?
It's probably only getting to now where we're starting to just be able to manage training versus like work. So the work roster I'm on at the moment is 4 days on, 4 days off. So I do 2 10-hour day shifts, and then I do a 12-hour, like we call it like afternoon shift. So it's like midday to midnight, and then a 14-hour night shift. So it's like 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then I'd have 4 off and then do that all again. Yeah. I guess the hard part is like particularly funding to go overseas, doing overtime shifts. So like a lot of OSG, I was doing like overtime night shifts on my days off. So it's like it wouldn't be 4 days off. It would be more like 1 day off and then do a night shift and then like 2 days off. Cash. Yeah. So then more work, more fatigue. Yeah. So it's just like I've got a massive calendar at home that's like a month, and I put in all my shifts, and then I put in where I'd train around that. It ends up being work 4 days, train 4 days in a row. Yeah, sure. Which is not ideal, but like I guess to fit it in, like it has to be done. Yeah. And then even then, like post night shift, if I'm coming in to train, it's like, well, what's the easiest thing? Probably more mentally, what's the easiest thing to come in and train? Tick off, it's probably an overhead event. So it's like,
and what needs the least work too? It's like, what's the easiest? But it's like, if you're fucking tired on an overhead and then you're well rested, your overhead's not going anywhere. Yeah, and it's already giving me points. Do you know what I mean? Like, where can you make up? I think it's different when you're like chasing PBs in the gym or chasing numbers versus like, how do I get more points in these competitions? It's like, well, I do my overheads when I'm tired because I love overheads, so it sucks. Yeah. But, you know what I mean? Like, they need the less cognitive input. They need the least energy spent on them because I've already got the points there, but I need to make up more points here and there.
Yeah, and it's like coming in and having to hype up for heavy deadlifts. That's a lot harder to do.
Mentally,
when you're mentally cooked.
Yeah, like, I think someone had said to you about with overheads being like, oh, you could hit, if you had an extra overhead day, you could then hit like a 140 log and you could practice all this extra technique stuff. And it's like, yes, based on OSG, you won log.
Yeah, why do you need? You don't need to do
points.
Much log.
You got the most amount of points. You can't get more points, but we lost points on this. So yeah, the overheads just need to tick over.
Katie's like, but like, how do I get that 140 log?
And tempting.
Yeah,
because at the moment, and especially you got Max Monster dumbbell coming up, like you've got that potential to take out like the overhead trinity of all three. Yeah. Which, Nick Camby's the only person that's done it ever out of all the weight classes.
All the records.
Lucas Hatton talks about wanting to do it. Yeah. And probably can.
Yep.
You could do that, but your deadlift is not going to move.
Yeah.
Or there's other things.
Yeah, it's like you're sacrificing. What's the long term goal? It's to win comps, right? It's to be Rogue Invitationals, to win the Rogue, like Pro-Am sort of stuff at the Arnolds, to get the Rogue Invitational invite.
Which
it's like,
comes down to records, highlight reel,
but it's kind of a bit of both though, right? Like you need the exposure from that as well. But
I suppose even that, like we looked at, like I guess like particularly coming home from the Arnolds, like I had my notes, like, well, where are my placings, where are my points? And like from OSG as well and from ASW, it's like, well, overheads, I'm either first or second sort of thing. And then it's like my deadlift, it's like fourth place, fifth place. Where's my grip at the bottom? Yeah. So it's like if I want to, I guess, win overall, like if I work my overheads harder, that might be 1 point versus
of course.
if I work on my grip and my deadlift
Understanding
harder,
where you need to spend the energy.
Yeah, like that's 3 points or something.
Yeah.
So this is working more of like my energy into those ones, and like mental energy.
We talk about it like budget. You've only got $100 to spend. Do you know what I mean? And you want to get 100 points. Well, you've already got the fucking log points. You don't need to spend anything on that. Do you know what I mean? Like maintenance. But it's like you can probably get a whole lot of points out of spending your time on those deadlifts and grip events. Especially like it's like, fourth or fifth at like medium comps, but at bigger comps, if you've got a field of 40, do you know what I mean? Like then it's suddenly like 10th or 15th, do you know what I mean? Like mid-pack, so.
Yeah, and like obviously the ASW is a big goal, but if there's events that you're already strong in, we don't have to put as much work into that. And the Arnolds Pro Show is the
I was going to say,
goal.
it starts to become hard. I think a lot of our athletes are going to start finding this. It's going to start to become hard because while ASW was like your ultimate goal, you start surpassing that, but you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I want to win ASW. That is on the list, but I'm already surpassing that, and I've already got this pro card thing happening where that is my key goal. You should be, if you're good enough to be on that stage, be ticking that goal off and just passing by on your way through. But you know what I mean? Like it might be the case that like, for whatever reason, it's like that goal is not fulfilled while you're chasing the bigger goals. But it's like it gets hard to be like, okay, well, where do I spend my energy? I dump my energy and effort into ASW, but maybe that hinders my prep for the next comp, which is maybe more important. So it starts to become more challenging, right?
Yeah, and I mean ASW is still like, I guess I've had a few people be like, this is your win, like you're 100% going to win it, like, and I'm like, well, no, like, I mean, anything can happen, but also like the other girls are strong. Like it's not like I'm just up against no one who, you know, I'm going to win every event. It's like the deadlifts are still going to be hard work, and I'm up against good deadlifters, and like, you know, the carry is going to be hard work still. Like the overheads, you know, I should win. Like I mean, something could happen, but
it's nice when there's 2 overhead events. But
like the other events are still going to be really hard. And like I'm still really going to have to work for it if I do want to win. Like it's not going to be a given.
Are there any other overseas competitions before the Arnolds on the list?
So there'll be OSG again.
OSG
in November.
Course,
we were looking at the Shore Classic originally, but I guess now maybe it's like, well, do I not do that and just focus on an off season? Work on stuff
then like
more.
You got December and March again, which is probably more important.
Which I'll keep saying, yes, you don't do that.
She's
like, what about this? I'm like, it doesn't go anywhere. That's the problem. Is even like I saw a video today of like Loz's thing where they said, is there going to be a strongest woman on earth? And he was like, probably not, because they, at that level, they pay for your flights, they pay for your accommodation, there's prize money all the way down to last. Is it viable to do that for the women, for Brian Shaw? Maybe in the future, but probably not. I think he just wants to focus on giving to the guys. So you could do the comp that anyone can do and you could win it, but it doesn't add to anything. Whereas Rogue, on their website, they have the list of the pro women and the pro men, and they have a point system. That's how they're supposed to get invited.
Yep, sure.
So they actually do have a point system. And then obviously they just pick who they want anyway. But the point system is World's Strongest Woman, which is what they call OSG. So you've got 700 points towards that. But then, like, you know, Cherry's got points from that. Joe's got points from that.
Yeah, sure.
The only other thing you can get points from is the Arnolds Pro Show and the Rogue Invitational. So essentially, once you make
comps.
Once you make
it
in there,
stage, you get the points.
You get points for participating and you get points for winning. So the people that are on the Rogue and Arnolds Pro Show are near impossible to catch.
Yeah, because they've got 2 extra comps.
Yeah. So you need to do well at OSG a lot, and even still you might not catch.
Yeah, sure.
So that's kind of the preference over Shore, is like, we need a lot of points from
You need OSG points, and then to do well, then you should be...
And then should be into Rogue.
Yeah.
And then once you get into there, it's like...
Well, then you're sweet. Then you're locked in, right? So
now we're done, and literally you could do 2 comps a year. Yeah. And you get paid to go to Scotland or wherever Rogue goes to next. You get paid to go to America. And that's as...
pro as it gets.
That's as pro as the sport gets you.
Yeah.
On the women's side, yep.
Yeah.
Well, for... all of us, really. Like, that's just, besides like World's Strongest Man and Giants Live, like they're probably like, it's like the guys in Giants Live and the World's Strongest Man circuit. That, and then there's nothing else really in the pro world besides us paying our way everywhere to fly everywhere and do comps that don't go anywhere.
There's a large list in the Giants Live group though that still want to be able to do Arnold.
Of course,
in the men's side that can't.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's definitely like that. It's the peak of where you want to be.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
and unfortunately, it means that, like, I guess if I want to do those comps and do well, say Arnold's, it's like now being like, well, I need to lock in for that. Like, I can't, I guess, do every comp like I want to do.
No. Yeah, it's like these comps look so fun.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
It was like once the pro-am was done, it was like, okay, day one starts now for the pro show.
Yeah.
Kind of.
This is it. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they've had that heavy frame uphill multiple years now, so that could get scrapped, which would work very well in our favour.
Yeah.
Change that to like the Wheel of Pain or something like that, which they thought was going to be in this year.
Yeah, sure.
So got an idea of what, like, you won't be wearing a suit.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, on the bar and stuff, deadlift, so raw deadlift.
Got a good idea of like what the events will roughly be and what to work on.
Yep. Heavy.
Yeah. That's it.
Heavy. In saying that though, looking at the women's side, and a lot of them couldn't get it was like still a 75 kilo dumbbell in the overhead medley.
Yeah.
Couldn't hit it and couldn't hit the stone press.
Yeah.
Would be very comfortably you'd do that and get into the log. So there's a couple of events that you'll very much be.
What kind of
right
dumbbell was it? A sear dumbbell?
The Rogue ones.
Yeah.
So not a round one, but an oval.
No, the Rogue ones are kind of okay.
The ovally shaped ones.
Yeah.
I think that was maybe like a 70 kilo dumbbell. I feel like it was 71, and then the stone was like 80 kilos roughly.
Yep. Which you've done more on a block press. What's your heaviest monster dumbbell?
81. Yeah.
Which was very close to the record. Until Sam made it 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit further away now.
91 at ASW.
You heard it here first. Well,
We'll see.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Been
having
a
me.
pleasure. We'll let you get to work, but that is another episode of The Strongman. So hopefully you got something out of listening to both Katie's journey and where she's going. And if you're a female watching this, take some inspiration in terms of like where it started at group exercise class. And
Horse riding.
Yeah, horse riding all the way through
Started
to
from the farm.
the Arnolds Pro stage. And best of luck this year in your preparations.
Thank you.
That's another episode done. Hopefully we'll see you again in a fortnight's time. We have Connor Walsh on next fortnight, so another double. We'll be putting up some stories. So if you have any PED questions, nutrition questions, or performance enhancement questions, feel free to slide into our DMs with those anonymously or not anonymously.
Slide into your DMs. They're going to get a lot of those questions.
Because we'll hit them with him next fortnight. Apart from that, have a great one and stay strong.